Hello everybody, this is Kiro Show here. Now then. Okay, that's not it. Anyways, let us begin. When I last left off, the USJ event had just happened, and the Nomu was defeated, and it was actually killed. Now, in this part, we'll be going over the next 2 weeks, along with pretty sure I can make this part 30 minutes long, so I can actually squeeze in part of the sports festival. But anyways, now then, let us begin. They had just got done with that, and afterwards, they would all be heading to the facility after school. All Might would actually show up, surprising Uraka and Todoroki, well, not Todoroki, Shinsho, and this is actually whenever they would reveal that they have been training all these kids for quite some time. Along with Todoroki actually asking exactly how his conduit works. He would just say that, oh, he just trains it and treats it kind of like a quirk. Isn't that what you do with your ice? Todoroki would just say, no, it's not. In fact, as he holds it up, he actually shows that he does use it like his regular ice quirk, somewhat like cannon, but he also fires ice shots straight out of his hand, not from behind him. Not just that, he also does actually somewhat partially turn his body into ice when he uses it. Basically meaning, hey, if he wanted to, he could... This is like not very... I don't believe it's very accurate, but he can run and basically hop up to the top of a building. Basically, as soon as he steps upwards, if he wanted to, he can freeze underneath him, basically like freezing the air, creating some ice, and then just jump off of it. But the ice would fall, it wouldn't stay there. Basically like a... It's very hard to describe, but you'd have to see it. You know it when you see it. Kind of like how Lockjaw in Season 4, he would just throw a plank, lock it in place, step on it, and if he unlocked it, it would fall. Basically like that. Now, he would just show that he does that with it, along with actually treat it differently, with most of his body being covered in frost when he uses it. Shinzo would just say that he's not going to do that. In fact, covering his body in fire doesn't sound like the best idea for him. But Deku would just show him how he uses his smoke ability since it's the closest thing he has to fire. Showing off that, hey, it's pretty cool to actually use. Now, Deku would actually show him the smoke dash along with more other abilities, the smoke missile, and every single thing he has. Now, after about the first day, going over everything he can do, Shinso is quite impressed, as he's somewhat made leaps and bounds with actually being able to start firing fire missiles. But that took a lot out of him, as he would have been able to at least somewhat turn his body into fire, but he would have hesitated and stopped immediately, because trauma is a bitch. Now, after that, he would have at least been able to fire off the shots and do all the other things, but for fire abilities, he just does throw fireballs standardly and treat it like a quirk. Basically, everything Todoroki can do with his fire and cannon, Shinso can somewhat do, just with a little bit of hesitation and less effectiveness. So she does treat it like that. Now, one day they are told that they will be doing combat training, and that they all need to give it their best, as it is going to be everyone versus Deku. And All Might would immediately say, Deku, I am not participating in this, so please do not... Well, it's going to be Deku and... the strongest two. Bakugo, you will be training with me, everybody else against Deku. Now, as soon as he got told that, Bakugo is going off with All Might to try and master One for All, so he can actually use it. And Deku, he is immediately given space between everyone else. Now, Deku, he has a piece of glass in his pocket. He would absorb it, and he would immediately just say that things are going to be a bit tricky, as he shows one of his hands has concrete, and the other immediately is just covered in glass. Deku would fabricate a lot of illusions, somewhat tricking everyone as they think, oh, one of these is just him, but this is whenever the one furthest away would immediately just soak into the ground, and this is whenever the giant maze would pop up. This maze stretches as high as they can see, and it's all made of glass, which everyone is confused by because as soon as they try and walk forward, they're thinking that they're just all stuck in boxes. Now, they just hear Deku echo throughout the entire thing that they are all in what he calls his Hall of Mirrors. So, this is going to be more tricky for them, as he is going all out with his ability. In fact, after messing around a bit, he found that he can somewhat do different things with his quirk, or his conduit, not quirk. That's in my head, I always get used to saying quirk. Now, crap. Anyways, he just goes on stating that they all need to fight him, or at least find him. As they see Deku for 1 second, someone will go chase after him, running into the wall. Now, afterwards, this is whenever a lot of Class 1A, like Kaminari, Jiro, and Ibarra, along with I want to say Ida, and probably Froppy. Yeah, let's go Froppy. They would all show up, and they're actually surprised that All Might's at this facility also. Along with Endeavor. The what? Endeavor would just go on stating that, oh, are you all conduits? Or what are you guys doing here? They would just say that they were told by Aizawa that this is where they would be, and they actually just wanted to come by and actually train with them. They were going to do training solo, but after thinking about what happened at the USJ, this is whenever Kaminari would just speak up saying that he saw Deku use electricity against that thing. So he wants to see if he can use his quirk like that, since anytime he does use it, he just tries himself. Now then, they would immediately be brought to the giant place, and they are confused. Endeavor's thinking, what is going on? As they see everyone all separated and essentially hitting nothing. But Deku, he would immediately just appear out of nowhere behind them, saying that he just did a little trick for them. Everyone's confused, saying, what does he mean? And he would just say that he used his conduit to make a house of mirrors. But if they can find him, they win. But if he takes them all down, they lose. So, wait, why aren't you in there? Oh, I am. As Deku, he smashes his hand into the wall, and it immediately reveals glass underneath. He would just say that this is just something he can do. In fact, it's very hard on my concentration, so as the thing immediately falls into a pile of glass, making everyone scream. Everyone in the maze looks over, and they see everyone, and they just start waving their hands. As, let's see, who gets taken down first? Todoroki is immediately punched out of nowhere, and people see this because Deku, he turned his entire body into glass. He would punch Todoroki in the face and immediately go into the next side, going straight through, disappearing. People are confused as Deku keeps doing this over and over until he takes everyone down. Now, as soon as that happens, he immediately just puts his hand on the ground and immediately just pulls all the glass underneath, absorbing it. As soon as he does so, he would actually say that he's kind of surprised everyone came by. He didn't really expect them to. Well, I, um, we had a lot of questions about everything. All Might, Endeavor, well, yeah. Where's Bakugo? And, wait, I thought Uraka would be here. Oh, well, that's kind of different. What do you mean? My mom has a telekinesis quirk also, so she's actually somewhat helping Uraka with it. Although, as a giant hole gets bursted through the wall, you just see Uraka standing there, somewhat confused. Yeah, that's going to take some time. In fact, I think I may have gotten a better hold of it than she does. She uses it, but she basically just throws objects around and does all this crazy stuff with it. In fact, I don't think she's tried flying with it. Uh, Shit, my jaw just popped. Anyways, she doesn't really fly with it or do anything like that, but I do think with some time she'll properly. She may actually find a better use for it. So, what about Shinsho? Oh, well, he's actually in the next room with Endeavor. As everyone gets back up, they would all walk over and essentially people would start asking if they're actually all conduits. Yurako would just poke her head out, saying that yes, she is, and it's not really something she likes talking about. So is Shinsho also a conduit? Well, I'm guessing so. I'm not really sure. Well, actually, yeah, I'm sure. He might. Hmm. I just immediately crashed. I'm sorry. He's actually a hybrid. In fact, both of them are. So we have a hybrid's conduit, and just regular people with quirks. What next? I don't know, man. As they're talking about this, Kaminari would immediately bring up the fact that he wants to learn how to use electricity properly. Deku would immediately just say, okay, just create a spark. Kaminari would just say that he can only go up to 1,000,000 volts. Deku would just say, no, make a spark. Kaminari immediately just tries, and Deku would immediately absorb it, confusing Kaminari as Deku just says, alright, well, now then. Let's try something simple. As he puts his hand out, blasting the wall. And let's say there was at least like a target set up, and Deku probably just hit it from like 100 feet away, but that blast was pretty huge. He would just say that, oh, okay, now try hitting the blast at least. Oh, okay. As he puts his finger out, trying to do it, he finds that nothing's happening. Okay, man, actually try. I'm trying, nothing's happening. Okay. Do I need to get a taser or something to kickstart you? Are you sure you're not actually a conduit? I'm pretty sure, yeah. Okay. Well, just try harder, man. As Denki actually gets pretty pissed off, he would immediately get angry and sparks would actually come out of his finger. He would somewhat shoot off a very small electric bolt, but let's say this is probably about like 10 volts. So it didn't really do anything, and Deku would just look at him saying, you know, just use that. As he immediately points his finger out, blasting a hole straight through one of the cans. He walks back over, and actually, Ida would ask him exactly what he can do. Deku would just say run. Well, he would just say, how about you just try doing parkour? I usually just use it to work out or really just go around and have fun. Why parkour? Well, you just run on a flat terrain, right? Well, yes, but I also do try traveling uphill with my engines. Well, yeah, but you gotta think about it. You ever hit a pothole? Well, I have, but I don't really like talking about those. It's quite embarrassing. Well, just think about it like this. You're not a car. You're a person with engines in their legs. Go do some parkour. As Ida would get out there and try doing some basic parkour, which is fairly easy. Now, Froppy, she's actually asking what they can work on with her. And I want to say there's at least a parkour course on top of the building, because they would have built it to at least like work every single muscle in the body. And Deku would just say that she usually just works on agility, so just try sticking to walls and jumping around them. Jiro asks what she's supposed to do, and Deku would just say, not really sure. Sounds kind of tricky. Anything close to sound? Air, boulder, neon. Well, the only thing I can think of is music. I usually just use neon to blast things. So just blast away. Just, you use your headphone jacks to plug into things, right? Well, yeah, but we'll just plug into yourself. Okay. She would do this, and she would actually find that that kind of hurts her arms when she does so, but she is immediately able to at least focus it and actually blast into the wall. Now then, Deku would actually tell her that that's not what he meant, just try focusing on the sound wave in her body. Doing this, they would all eventually come to the point where Deku needs to spar with some of them. Deku would do so, and he wouldn't actually be using his conduit. Let's say he's using paper, because it's his weakest one right now. And he is at least saying that they need to work on this. As he runs around, people are noticing that he's actually slower, but he does leave paper trails. Not only that, but sometimes he's disappearing and reappearing where the paper is. He would eventually cover the entire room, and they are watching as he's actually shooting paper shards at them. If not, at least, I want to say a paper missile. Basically, like, it doesn't explode or do anything, but whenever it does, it like just bursts into paper that you can actually just come out from. Basically, like firing yourself out of a. Well, basically, like firing yourself, yeah. Anyways, they would work on that for the first week, and eventually it would get to the point where Endeavor's taught Shinso enough about his conduit, at least as much as he can teach with fire, because Shinso kind of has to fill in those empty spaces. But Endeavor would have gotten Shinso over the trauma by just lighting him on fire. Basically, the old classic Endeavor style of doing shit. How to get over trauma? Make you desensitized to it. You never get used to it. Anyways, after that, they would continue doing these type of things for the next couple weeks, and Deku actually does get a better hold on glass and paper. But air and telekinesis, that is somewhere. Those two somewhat meet in the middle with the ability to fly. So he's using air to somewhat fly, but he's also trying to switch over to telekinesis. But that's a bit harder since you can do it subconsciously instead of absorbing something. So it's more kind of just. Since it's in your head. But he'd be able to at least somewhat control it to pull objects towards him and push them away, or at least lift things up into the air. Now then, after that, let us cut to the rest of the time. Everyone is trained up, everyone is ready, and we will begin. They would be at school, and Deku would see Bakugo for the first time in 2 weeks. He wants to go talk to him, but he is told that he was the highest ranked in this entire entrance exam, and he will be giving a speech. Deku would immediately walk up, and he would just start saying that over he is happy to see a lot of people here. But you guys are probably going to hate me for saying this, so I can't guarantee anything. But listen to me. A couple months ago, people came to my house and asked my mom to sign something about conduits, basically restricting and making a police force to deal with them. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like bullshit to me. I am a conduit. I will admit that. But I'm not some terrorist who set off a bomb. In fact, I was one of the people affected by that bomb. It happened whenever I was in kindergarten. I don't remember anything after or before. I only remember things before the blast. Afterwards, that's a bit tricky. I only remember probably 3 years of my life missing. So, that is a bitch. But not just that. To anyone thinking that conduits are different than humans or people with quirks, they're not. In fact, the conduit gene is a dormant gene in the human body. Most people have it, but it's just not active. The only difference is we've always had this gene, and the quirk gene is recent. So, that doesn't mean anything. We're not bioterrorists, we're just people. People with abilities, just like people with quirks. As he just walks away. People are somewhat staring at Deku and they're not sure whether to cheer or to boo him. But then you just see All Might clapping, and people just start clapping. Now then, the race would begin and Deku is actually on his neon mode. Actually, let's say he takes it a bit more seriously since he was told not to hold back. A lot of the people with quirks would declare war on Deku. And let's say that a lot of the Quirklets, that is not the same series. Let's say that a lot of the conduits, my brain just stopped again. On the conduits, they are talking, and Todoroki would have actually told Deku that he plans on winning, along with Bakugo actually saying that he plans on not losing. Now then, the race would immediately begin, and as soon as Deku begins running, the entire tunnel is just hit with a giant wall, just blocking the entire way. Bakugo would punch through it with One For All and his explosions, and Deku, as soon as he gets into the sunlight, he would immediately use glass to just basically get all the way across the entire arena. Basically getting there in less than a couple seconds. He would have done so by basically coming through the board where they basically say what events are going on, and it confuses people because they see Deku disappear and reappear outside the board as he just walks over to the finish line. While that's going on, this is whenever Toru, Kendo, Uraka, Todoroki, Kirishima, and Shinso are all actually racing to get to essentially for the number 2 spot. Bakugo being at 30% to... Actually, let me amp that up. About 40% of One For All at an uncomfortable rate to 50% at max. He is actually about... Let's say he gets second place, and Toru, since she's moving at 150, she would get third because Kendo, you can only go so fast with air before it actually starts harming your actual body. So that would happen. Deku, he would be told that that was pretty cool by a lot of pros, and that if that's his conduit ability, then it might not be very useful, right? Deku would immediately just turn around, draining the board of neon and actually holding it up in his hands. People are confused, saying, wait, that's that other girl's That's that girl's conduit, right? It looks like it. I guess I forgot to say, my conduit's called Power Sponge. You know that one blonde bitch over there in Class 1B? Yeah, he has copy. And I actually have a version of it. But it's not shitty, because I keep the powers. Monoma immediately starts yelling as Deku looks at him and gives him the finger. As that happens, Deku gets 10 million points. Hearing this, a lot of people look straight at Deku. And you just tell they think that he fucked up. Now then, you have Toru, Kirishima, and Uraka who actually pair up with him. Uraka, she would actually say that she's kinda happy that they found out that she's a conduit since now she has a better handle on her powers. In fact, Deku's mom actually taught her quite a bit. Really, what'd she teach you? Well, she showed me a lot of family photos too, but that's kinda different. Deku immediately just stops thinking, wait, family photo? What kind? Well, there's you and your Ford and All My onesie. Oh god, why do I remember this? No! Anyways, a lot of that embarrassing shit would happen. But they would all immediately just come up into the air, and they would basically be somewhat moving around, but it's kind of hard to stay together when Kirishima's boulders kind of just swing around him a lot. But let's say that Kendo, she basically uses her air ability, along with Uraka using telekinesis to actually keep them up on the air. Basically, Deku would also be using one hand to fire, as he's using the other to actually hold on to the headband. Now then, that would actually work, and they would also be Todoroki. He doesn't have really anything to prove, so he's just competing. A lot of teams are going for Deku, but Deku or Todoroki would just go for those teams. Now then, that is where I'm going to be leaving this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I will catch you guys later.